Hello everyone, welcome back to my team selection videos. This is Gameweek 14 and this is Pras from the FPL Wire. It's a really unusual thing to do because the game week's just finished, but the next one is around the corner. So we thought again we'd spread it out. We'd do my team selection tonight because I can react to the games that have just finished. We've just had another fantastic weekend of football and the themes of the midfielders doing well, a few, and Haaland not doing that well continues. So the template is only going to converge, and so I'm going to talk about sort of where my team is going. But let me start with the week first. So game week 13, I got 79 points. And honestly, by Saturday 5 p.m., I was like, okay, I've had my luck, and now things are changing because, by that time, Aid Nouri got 0, Pinnock got 2, Boomo blanked, Isak got injured, or, basically was subbed off early, Cunha blanked, João Pedro blanked on Friday night, and so I was like, okay, the luck is running out a little bit. And then obviously the Arsenal game happens, and I get the Gabriel Saka assist goal, and then another Gabriel Saka assist goal, and then, it's a lot better. And honestly, this is probably, I felt like the last 2 weeks of getting these 31 points from Saka is like, this is it. Like everyone will now have Saka just like they have Salah and Palmer. So this was probably the final week where you could actually have an edge from having Saka, and he's been the guy. Like every pod I'm saying he's my guy. Like I have very high hopes on him. I think he's on for a 240, 250 point season, and he's a great pick even if you're not captaining him. So very happy with that. I'm not sure about the penalty situation, why he gave it to Odegaard. Maybe he's coming back after a long layoff. Maybe they're having this, bromance where I give one to you. I don't think it continues. I think Saka, just like we saw the second pen, he takes them back. And therefore, the midfield looks very healthy. So the theme basically of my short team selection video today will be calm, will be patience, will be no knee jerking, because when you have midweek games, free transfers should be worth a lot. Like you should be looking at your team and saying, do I really need to move this player? Do I really need to do this? And of course, as you know me, looking at your next path. So what else can I say about my previous week? I think generally good. Like I think the sequence of Palmer and Salah playing pissed off a few people. Like had Palmer played after Salah, the Palmer owners would have been happier. But because Salah played after, then the Palmer owners are a little bit unhappier because they felt, we had the points, we had the gains from the Salah captainers. But that, it's fine. It's fine. Both did well. If you own both, then it's fine. And Saka did better anyway. So if you own those three, I think those three will be the template going forward. So then the question becomes, where else is the edge? Because if everybody has Saka, Salah, Palmer, I think many people went João Pedro this week. A lot of people have Cunha. So if I'm looking at non-Haaland being the template, and I think that is starting to become the template, non-Haaland was like 20% owned in the top 10K. Now he'll be higher in the higher ranks because the people who've sold Haaland have done well, so they're therefore higher up in ranks. But it's going to be very templatey. And so you could have two views about this. You could have my boring view, which is basically when template forms, let it form, accumulate some transfers if you're ahead of the template, and then move when there is something changing, where there is a template shifting thing, which could be an injury, which could be a new opportunity and things like that. The other way to play is basically be a little bit more aggressive and say, if the template is shifting, I'm going to strategically go against it. So this is why you'll see a lot of people looking at Jackson this week, the Solanke owners, or even some Isak owners, or you may people looking at Liverpool defense jumping early. All of that makes sense. But like I said in my last week's video, be sensible in the people you take on. Don't take on Saka, Palmer, Salah. Like, those are not players you need to take on. Again, this is different from people who've gone triple Arsenal defense, so this is not against that. But as a strategy, if you haven't filled your Arsenal slots, then don't go against these three midfielders because they have good fixtures for the foreseeable future. They're talismans, they're on penalties, they have all routes to points. So let's come to my team, and I'm going to discuss because it's that's it. So I don't have any Rob T graphics. I have nothing else. I'm going to talk about my team, and I'm going to basically get out of here because you have only 2 days to make decisions. So in my team, I'm going to be starting with Raya. So I think this should say Leicester away, right? West Ham are Leicester away. So some people may say that there's a question mark between who to start between between Fabianski and Raya. For me, no question. I think they're going to be a little bit front-footed, Leicester. So I don't fancy a clean sheet, and so therefore Raya at home, I'm happy with that. I think they're also still the second highest clean sheet odds, which is a little bit laughable because the highest clean sheets are Man City, and we just saw what Man City did. So Raya will play. Now, I have in this week, I have Rico Lewis starting, and I've got 8 Nouri, and I've got Gabriel. See, I'm doing it on the job because the game's just finished. Rico Lewis feels a little bit risky because he's played the game tonight. But he has 2 positions, right? Today he played a little bit right wing back, almost central midfield. But then Walker also played. So Walker could miss out and he could go back to right back. So I'm okay playing him. I don't feel ideal. But at the same time, do I feel like I need to make a defender transfer? I have to again look at the high bar to making transfers. Like, do I need to? Do I absolutely need to make a transfer? Maybe not, especially in the context of the fact that Liverpool play Newcastle away. I think my next defensive transfer will be a Liverpool player. And I'll talk about Liverpool in a second when I talk about the general theme of where my team is going. So 8 Nouri away to Everton. Now Wolves were quite poor, but that's what you get with Wolves, right? I mean, you're picking a team that is bottom 4 in terms of defense, in terms of how you feel their team strength is, and so they will concede goals. So that's what 8 Nouri gives you. If you don't have him, you don't need to get him, but his fixtures are good for the next 4-5 games. There might be 1 or 2 clean sheets, there might be an attacking return, so why not just play him? And then Gabriel, hopefully he's fine. So the thing was he was taken off, but then Arteta said that he was taken off not because of concussion, but because they wanted to be precautionary about the thing that he had midweek. And so that's actually good news because had he been taken off as a concussion substitute, then he would have had to mandatorily miss 7 days. Now, if in the press conferences tomorrow or even on Tuesday, we hear that he is out or Rico is out, then I might be pushed to make a defensive transfer. And that defensive transfer at the moment, basically I like 2. I like Gomez and I like Colwill. And I like Gomez, number 1, because he played today and he was pretty good. And we've seen that Slot basically, once he recognizes his centre backs, he doesn't change. Like even Konate has been injury prone in the past, but he kept playing. So I think Gomez should be good value. The good thing is I can watch him. If I don't need to go for him this week, I can watch him against Newcastle. If he again starts, then Newcastle are the early kickoff in the next 2 game weeks after that. So you almost have an insurance, right? You can basically get Gomez in the 2 weeks where it's an early kickoff. Then if you have 4 starts, you're good to go. You're golden. So that's where my head is at the moment. That defender from Liverpool almost feels like after Newcastle is out of the way, then it's a set and forget. Not in Gomez's case, but I'm also looking at some routes for Trent, which I will talk about. And the other one I like is Colwill. So, I mean, people have been sort of not liking Chelsea defense, but clean sheets will come. Today, slightly lucky, but then it's okay. When you have good fixtures, slightly lucky, clean sheets come. So, I feel that there will be a defensive transfer coming, which is why I'm more keen to just wait and watch another week. So, that's my defense. In midfield, I think it's a little bit of a no-brainer. Palmer, Saka, Salah, Bumo. Now let's come to the second talking point this week, which is people are looking to sell Mbumo, which I am slightly confused by. Like, it's a super luxury transfer. Like, if your team is so good that you have no other issues, you have all the other big hitters, you're happy with your defense, you've got Saka, Salah, Palmer, you've got your strikers that you're happy with, and you have like 2-3 free transfers, okay, look at Mbumo to Bowen or look at Mbumo to someone else. But apart from that, he might play up top against Villa. Villa are not looking that great. Then he plays Newcastle at home. They're very good at home. He may play up top again there. I just don't think he's the urgent sell. Like, what's the emergency? Like, he's a good guy on penalties. Penalties were back this weekend. Salah got 1. Arsenal got 2. Bournemouth got 3. And those are just the ones I remember. So playing penalty takers is not a bad thing. It's okay. Like, you can have them, and it has to be a very high bar to use a very precious free transfer on taking out a player that has good pedigree, excellent on penalties, is on set pieces. I'm not going to overreact to this whole thing that is coming on X of he's got 1 shot in 4 games. We've seen this, by the way. Remember last season, Saka has got 1 shot in 4 games, or we saw with Solanke, he's got 1 shot in whatever. Got a 15-pointer. So it's okay to be patient. I'm not saying he's definitely not a sell if you want to sell him, but it's an ultra luxury move. Next, I've got Cunha Isak and João Pedro. So this is a talking point. I think Cunha, João Pedro, fine. Nothing to talk about those two. Very happy to start them. They're basically, good for minutes, good for, Pedro got another 70 minutes, so he's basically coming up to fitness. I did warn people on both these strikers, by the way, that they're not gods. Don't be taking hits. Like, I'm sorry, I even said it on the pod. Don't be doing wood to Pedro, and it didn't work out. So now if you have them, yeah, there's no problem. I think they're still both good buys. They've got good buys, not good buys. And if you don't have them, yeah, it's fine to buy one of them. And then it's a question of who the third striker is. A lot of people will basically say Jackson is the pick. Jackson has to be the pick because he scored. I sort of still say he's a very good pick, but you still have to look at it as an ultra luxury move. Yes, he has Southampton away, but after that he has Spurs, and after that he still has the 4 yellow cards, and it's still a move where it needs to be robust. For me, it's not robust enough yet for my team. I repeat, for my team. If it works for your team, go for it. So basically, my thinking is, if Isak is fine, if he's not hurt long term, like if he misses a couple of games, Rodgers is home to Brentford. Like, I'm happy to bench Isak this week and play Rodgers home to Brentford. It actually solves a benching dilemma. So if I was to use a free transfer, let's say go Isak to Jackson, I would be doing two things which I don't like. Number one, I'd be benching Rodgers where I'm happy to play him this week. So it doesn't feel like I'm gaining as many points as I could if I had a very bad first sub. So that gain in expected points is not high enough for me to make the move. Second thing is basically I don't know what to do with that Isak slot. Like, Isak could come back, then he has Brentford, Leicester, and Ipswich, if I'm right. Sorry, I should know this, but basically he has 3 good fixtures after he comes back. Correct. So he has Brentford, Leicester, and Ipswich as his 3 games right after that, and actually Villa at home after that. I don't mind keeping him. For all the things that people are saying about Newcastle, maybe he's fine. Like, it's okay to bench him 1 week and then reassess. And the other thing is, maybe I can do something else with Isak, right? I can bring him down to, let's say, Welbeck in 2 weeks and then upgrade Pinnock to Trent. So there are routes that will open up in 2 weeks that could be much better than just using one free transfer for Jackson. And then, okay, Jackson gets a goal, right? I have no doubt that Jackson will do well against Southampton. Let's say he gets a brace, right? That's 13 points. Rodgers is also allowed to score some points. Let's say he does nothing. He scores 2. You've lost 11 points in a move, which sounds very bad. It's not season defining. You having 2 free transfers, being able to deal with Isak in a more appropriate way on what you think you should do. Should you hold? Should you sell him for somebody much cheaper? Feels like a lot better to me, but that's my playstyle. So I don't hate it if people want to go against, go for Isak. Go for Jackson. I think he'll be popular this week. But me personally, I think I'm very much leaning towards just holding Isak or even benching Isak, starting Rodgers, carry 2 free transfers. Next week when Liverpool's fixtures turn, I will definitely have Liverpool players, whether that is straight away going for Trent, whether that is going for Gomez first, keeping Isak another week. But eventually, I like the idea of Raya, Gabriel, Gomez, Trent as my backline. Double Arsenal, double Liverpool, don't worry about it. Get their penalty takers in Saka and Salah. I don't see any huge picks that I'm missing out there if I have these guys. And then fill your team with other penalty takers. So that's basically the strategy. That's the route that I'm thinking about. Captain is Palmer. I don't really see a better candidate. Like last week, there were a few, and it turned out that they were good. Like Saka, Palmer, Salah were all good. They all were good, and they give points. So I think Saka is the closest that I feel like. Newcastle are decent, right? Okay, there's going to be a lot of Salah fans. Salah's going to be over 100% EU, I'm sure, again, because people are high on Salah right now. But it's okay. Again, other players are also allowed to score points. He's also allowed to blank sometimes. It's fine to go against him. So that's what I'll be doing. If some people want to go Jackson, that's up to them. It's not my cup of tea. But if you want to, sure. But for me, it'll be Palmer. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. So that's it for me, under 15 minutes. Thank you for listening. Like the video if you can. I try to do this in short and sweet time so that you can get to listen to it and give us some love. And please subscribe if you can. And we'll be back with the main podcast tomorrow with Lateriser. And so far, it'll be at 7 p.m. India Standard Time and 1:30 p.m. UK. Good luck.